Hello folks, my name is Hypocrite and welcome to yet another episode of HOI4 TNO as Magadan, Republic of West Alaska, Mitchell, WerBell, 100% Wholesome Chungus. Okay, so first things first, I would really like to thank you again for all your support. I'm really glad that I have such an amazing audience, really. And second thing is that most of you guys are not subscribing. Then if you like what I do, then please consider subscribing because it really helps and you will know what I do apart from, HOI4 TNO stuff. Right now I'm not doing actually anything, but who knows, probably some things will be on the way. I'd like to also say something about the recent drama, or maybe well it's not a drama because it's actually much more serious thing that is the TNO devs got hacked. I have no idea by who, and I don't care at all, but I hope that this build of the mod will stay on the workshop because I don't want to replay everything just to be able to record this stuff for you. Also, I would like to redo the Samara campaign. I mean, continue it, and without the mod it will be impossible. So let's hope that everything will be okay. So back to the video. In the previous one we've taken care of Amur, Chita and Yakutia, if I'm not mistaken. So let's check what do we have here. So we have a lot of new factories. So maybe let's try and pump those numbers up, because we have to build up our troops. So what do we have here? We have some motorized, we have some light infantry. Okay, so maybe let's not do it right now, and let's check the focuses. Alright, so we've stopped at eyeing Yakutsk, and maybe let's go with let's check what will happen next. Okay, foreign investments. The Republic of Yakutia is no more. Their diamond mines, once owned by Russians and Yakuts, are now in our hands. With the number of workers and equipment that are there, we can expand our army as well as raising the wages of the soldiers currently in our pay. However, as an American, enough is insufficient for WerBell. There must be a way to squeeze more out of the mines, and luckily for the Republic of West Alaska, he already has a plan in mind. The crucial issue of the first diamond mining operations was that there were no markets receptive enough to its supply nearby. WerBell can rectify this problem. He will call executives and his acquaintances across America, and all will swarm him for the stock from his newly found fortune. He will cut them a deal, slightly lower prices for the newest, state-of-the-art mining equipment. After all, we are running a business and not a charity here in West Alaska. So we'll get one off-map military factory, cool. Alright, so what do we have here? We have mercenary infantry, nationalne opolczenie. So only one mercenary infantry unit and my 2 mod templates. So let's all change that, or maybe not. I don't necessarily need the military police. It will be helpful with occupied territories, but not necessarily now. All right, so maybe let's go with them, those guys. How many I can train before a low manpower thingy happen? 2 of them. Okay, that's good enough, I think. And maybe let's go with 2 more. Well, let's go with 2 more motorized. Oh, so 100% Wholesome Sablin is justifying against us. And the schemes. Buryatia declares war on the Republic of West Alaska. I really want to know what this focus says, but I think that I don't have the time. Okay, so how much time do I have? 18 days. Alright, so foreign investments are finished, so let's go with diamonds from their ashes. It's really all about Metal Gear Solid 5 and Diamond Dogs. We have defeated the Yakuts. For what we did, we now inherit the heirloom of the meek. The supply of diamonds in West Alaska is now ours. With the current output, we can feed and pay our existing mercenary companies with a little more comfort than before. However, phrases like a little more are not enough for men like WerBell. And if his ambition were to reach as far as he wants it to, he would need perhaps 1,000 times more. From the ashes of their short-lived independence, we shall claim the riches of the earth. Our men will go from every village and town in West Alaska, forming labor battalions from the wide-eyed young men who are always thrilled to join our little operation. Then they will work in the mines, with the same rates as it was under the Republic of Yakutia. Who knows, if they are good enough, perhaps they can prove their worth and join the real mercenary companies someday. 1 infrastructure, good enough, I think. Okay, so Daddy actually prepared war on the Pacific Fleet. Hopefully we won't have to deal with Mien and with Sablin at the same time. And it's happening. Okay, so let's just go for Wilhudiansk and maybe it will be all that we need. Okay, so focuses are completed. Maybe let's go with the guns of West Alaska. When he was still in Matkowski's payroll a few months ago in Magadan, WerBell once proposed that he has connections throughout the underworld that would let him procure guns at a lower price. Unbeknownst to Matkowski, WerBell's relations to this lucrative market did not stop at rifles alone. Artillery guns, uniforms, supplies and other essential tools of war, if you can name it, WerBell's got it, and at a cheaper rate too. With the limited industrial capacity in the Far East due to the Reds' negligence during the Soviet period, WerBell now has to pull all the stops in ensuring that his army of soldiers without borders stays well equipped and ready to attack at any time. No number shall go uncalled, no associate go unpressed. All shall go into the duty of making sure that West Alaska stays afloat for as long as possible. The remnants of the Reds and the Father's forces may seem small and insignificant, but it is better to be safe than sorry. How many are you here? Like, really? Now you have from 11 to 13 units. Alright. Okay. Cool. I think. Right, so maybe it's not the best time to do any training, so maybe let's just add some more infantry. And maybe a support artillery unit. It won't be enough. Okay, it will be enough now. And what about you? A support infantry unit? Okay, that's good enough, I think. Alright, so maybe let's get them all here and let them come. But before we do that, maybe let's try and encircle as many forces as we can, or maybe not. Okay, so now we have the guns, and maybe let's go with the fire-based Moses. Despite our victory in Yakutia, our forces still need time to recover and rest before moving to their next target. Well, we don't have the time now. Meanwhile, Reds and the mythical father in the north move in the shadows, fighting their wars and settling their debts without our knowledge into their affairs. Starved of knowledge and intel, many move to claim and conquer the north, and the west would be risky. While we rest and recuperate, we need to gather information on our opponents. Thankfully, we have just the thing. We shall build the fire-based Moses, a forward operating base planted at the very edges of our political and practical control. From there, our troops will inform the High Command of any slight changes in the composition and positioning of our enemy's divisions. Half the battle is knowing yourself, Sun Tzu once said, and the other is knowing your enemy. With this move, we have made one more guarantee to our success here in the Middle East. Okay, so we only have now one motorized division. Great. Okay, so we have actually managed to do some damage here, I think. This guy is moving slowly, albeit surely. Okay, at least one of them is good to go. Okay, so what are you doing now? They are moving, but maybe it's high time to try and outmaneuver them somehow. Okay, so let's go with the Dogs of War. Our battle-hardened forces have come far. From the frigid wastes that surround the port town of Magadan, we have defeated both the fascist power brokers in the region as well as the Republic of Yakutia, claiming their supply of diamonds for ourselves. Even though they have fought throughout the world before, our soldiers find themselves pushed to their limits, coming out on top despite the lopsided odds in numbers, equipment and motivation. Luck has blessed WerBell with the most hardened soldiers of this world. However, we are not interested in mere good. From the ranks of his current soldiers, WerBell shall pick and choose whoever he favors and believes to be quintessential elite soldier. He shall assemble them to a single unit. Their pay will be higher and their only occupation the preparation for war. When the time comes, these soldiers will push themselves forward, further than any man can. They will become the Dogs of War. Cool. Reports from Moses. Nancy Wake was not unaccustomed to the conduct of espionage. She sat in her new office, formerly owned by the RFP member Nikolai Pietlin, whereabouts unknown, receiving reports and issuing orders. Her duty was that of a spider, to construct webs of informants, local contacts and spies, in the hopes of snaring a valuable piece of intel, or perhaps even a snitch or two. Her mind is tuned to the changes in the web, just like how a spider can feel and snag any object that caught itself in its structure. This morning, her mind polished in the bitter wash of coffee. She had received a report from the fire-based Moses, and it did not disappoint her. Cocooned in a file before her was what she had wanted all along: juicy, valuable intel. She could feel the venom emanate from this particular document, however. Fire-based Moses had seen activities in the north, although it hadn't coalesced into anything concrete. All reports of civilian movements seemed inconclusive, Tracking the cursory subsensory flow of people to the barren north was pointless, not to mention exhausting and taxing. Opening the file, she rustled through its contents. Hastily written notes, blurry photographs, and a word that echoed over and over. The father. The father. She leaned back in her chair and considered her options. The newly installed telephone sat across of her. If she lifted the receiver, then the equivalent in WerBell's office would also ring. Without a doubt, she reached for it. "This is Wake. I may have some news." Okay, so we have managed actually to do an encirclement here. So maybe these 2 or 3 units will be crushed. But back to the focus tree. The world calls for wet work. With the establishment of our relative authority over much of the Far East, we have come to possess a diamond mine, a not-so-imperial ransom, and the Academy of Cheetah. Despite the availability of the latter's facilities to train out troops from the backwater Russians, we have a shortage of recruits with adequate quality. However, we are soldiers without borders, and it may be time to look to the outside world for help. Until recently, our reputation in the global underworld is that of a mere curious object. Something of a fad that gives way after a brief time. After the conquest of Yakutia, however, many have taken quite an interest in our work. If we are to, say, put a call outwards to rally the mercenaries into West Alaska, we would receive quite a lot of applications. WerBell will do just that. The influx of new blood into the ranks of West Alaska shall ensure that no division shall go understaffed and without personnel. Well, let's answer the call, because we have a bit of a shortage here. Maybe we'll be able to do a thing or two, but again, something happened. Something that I don't like. Okay, so the focus is completed, so maybe alright, here it is. Answering the call. Smith looked over the pitiful port of Magadan, a few planks for rotten wood jutting out to the cold, brackish waters of the North Pacific. On the other side of that ocean is heaven on earth, the United States of America, land of freedom and liberty, of countless land and infinite money. Smith, from his days and nights in the city of Bloemfontein, had seen America from the covers of magazines and the brief, barely legible photographs of monochrome newspapers. War was a business, and business was good, yes, but he did not want to shoot at natives forever. No, he had dreams beyond, to settle in America, and finally end a roaming sedentary life. As images of kitschy gifts fluttered in his mind, of paperback romance books, of the descriptions of one shining city after another, he saw the ship bearing new arrivals to WerBell's latest scheme. No doubt, its occupants held the same kind of dreams that Smith had, to settle down somewhere quiet, somewhere where they could enjoy the winnings of a life spent on betting against fate and coming on top, again and again. Smith would rather be in the front lines right about now, where the days passed quickly. An assignment is still an assignment, however, and at least there was pay. He had to watch over the soldiers and guide them to their new quarters, guide them through the modest town, and generally help them acclimate. He went over his own words in his mind, the greetings, the jokes, and how he would handle and juggle especially inflated egos. He lit a cigarette and took a drag. He'd play it by ear. Fuck it. His future problems were for his future self. For now, he enjoyed the small luxury afforded to him and made a joke to his past, something only he could ever know. He laughed and watched as the vessel ambled its way through the waves, coming ever closer by the minute. Calm before the storm. So 5,000 manpower, cool. The Black Army defeated the People's Revolutionary Council. Okay, so perhaps, or no, that's not something they wanted to do. Perhaps the Black Army will go for Buryatia now. Which one is it? Krasnoyarsk? Kemerov. Okay, so probably never. Probably never. Okay, let's go with the focus. The Siberian Expedition. The time of R&R is over. Siberia awaits. The Republic of West Alaska shall not be sated with only 4 states as its members. With the influx of mercenaries from our previous call, it would be a waste to have them sit around and do nothing while the money trickles in. West Alaska must expand deeper into Siberia for the territories west and north. WerBell shall not rest until he has the whole of the Far East in his hands. For expansion plans, we have 3 avenues that we can pursue. First, the rest to the west. It appears that there are conflicts within their ranks as to the rightful successor of the Union, but it matters to us very little. We will crush both of them. To the north we have the Father and his forces of peasant militia, who are no problem for our elite mercenaries to handle. Lastly, we have the state of Alden, with its gold mines protected by small time-hired guns. Whichever we choose, the momentum of West Alaska must not stop. Actually, there is no Alden because we eaten it. Or maybe not. No, we didn't, because Buryatia actually eaten Alden. Okay, I think it's possible. All right, so they are now finished. Cool. Damn, it's too many of them. It's not good. The Lord's word for all to hear. In the ancient times of days since past, it was through Emmanuel that the lowly and forsaken were given the arm by which to rise up. Damn, I hate this font. To rise above the oppression of tyranny, violence, and sin. Christ's own crucifixion served as the end of his mortal service on earth. However, a new vessel of the Lord walks amongst the meek and lowly, preparing to spread the word across all corners of this frozen world. It shall be the day of reckoning for every barbarian, tyrant, and cultist, as the Father journeys forward to bring the light of God to the fiendish wastes. And so greatly did the Father take up the podium of God, speaking out to the select few beside him, but with a voice heard round the taigas. Brothers and sisters of this bright world, it is not we who bring forward the promises of God from the scriptures into the world. Yes, it is true. Our home of Russia has come under the despair of bandits, dictators, and marauders. But know this, brothers and sisters, as it says in the scriptures, whoever oppresses the poor to increase his own wealth or gives to the rich will only come to poverty. It is thus our duty to rise above the choking grasp of this tyrannical madman. For the mighty Lord seeks our justice, to rise in our broken world, and we must be the first deliverer of judgment. In his name. From this hill of Amalon, we do pray for all named Russian. It was thus that the Father's revelation came clear. No matter of pirate nor persecutor could seek to overturn the mind of the Lord. The followers of heaven thus marched on, rising above the chains of enslavement and oppression. However, while such men and women fought and killed for their freedom, the Father whispered softened words. But I tell you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who mistreat you and persecute you. It is heaven's hymns that we sing. Oh, fuck me. But why? What did I do? What did I do to you to have such a fucking national spirit peasant uprising? Fuck my ass. Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Really? You know, I can't be bothered. I will just load the game and I will see you, you know, when the time comes. Alright, so here we are now. Before the shit hit the fan, so maybe we'll be able to counter them instead of, you know, running back. Let's go, bitch. Okay, so I think it was a much better idea to actually fight them and not try to, I don't know, encircle them or something like that. Alright, so maybe let's try and encircle them, but here. Okay, so we are kinda managing to encircle them somehow. Okay, so we are actually very close to Verkhodinsk, but I don't know if this is something that will end the war, or maybe, I don't know, not. But we'll slowly but steadily going forward, and maybe we'll be able to do something with those marauding forces. Alright, so another one is dead. Okay, so we must go to Irkutsk, and I think that it'll be a long way. Another one encircled, but no. I thought that if I encircle them by the lake, then they will be you know, cut from supplies, but I don't think that this will happen. Okay, so a new part of the focus tree is now unlocked. We can go both by the left or right. So we have Divine Mandate of Siberia up our asses. They have, well, we don't have any time, but they will attack both us and Buryatia, so maybe this will be a bit of a help. But yeah, let's go with the Reds. At first glance, the split between the remnants of the Soviets in Buryatia and Irkutsk may seem to be a simple old world style power struggle. Alas, not everything is so simple. The gist of the situation is that the Buryats, under former NKVD Commissar Valery Sablin, have disagreed rather violently with the president of the Presidium, Genrik Yagoda. Holding some lofty ideas, as young men are often prone to, Sablin claimed a radio tower amid Buryatia and proclaimed his ambitions to unify Russia and restore the Soviet Union. Yagoda was not pleased by this and declared Sablin and his ilk revisionists. However, the ideological split does not matter to us. The factories of Irkutsk, as well as the broadcast system in Buryatia, are valuable assets to the people of West Alaska. We do not care whether or not Sablin or Yagoda is right. The fact of the matter is they are sitting on our rightful soil. If they would not leave, we will then evict them. I hope that we will be in Irkutsk in time, because yeah, now we have the father up on our asses, so please, let it be the end. Irkutsk hydroelectric station captured. With the city of Irkutsk recently taken by our Siberian armies, the mighty hydroelectric station has come under our control. Constructed under the orders of Genrik Yagoda after the Soviet Union was pushed back to the corners of Siberia, this work of infrastructure has reliably generated energy for the entire city under his command. A mighty symbol of Russian mastery over nature, the Irkutsk hydroelectric power station may also be a symbol of our control over the Siberian frontiers amidst the chaos of warlordism in the east. Given the immense amounts of electricity gathered from the currents of the river, we can utilize the potential of the hydroelectric station to send power to our manufacturing plants, factories, and the homes of citizens living within our territory. The concrete station towered over the Siberian wastes and churned through great amounts of the Angaras water to generate electricity. We will utilize the natural veins of our fractured nation, and with such a magnificent source of electricity in the region, our energy supplies will never run dry. Okay, that's a nice bonus to have. Republic of West Alaska has defeated the Buryat Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic in a war. Finally. Okay, but we are dangerously far away from Magadan, and Omalon is here. So, what we gonna do? Okay, before we do anything, maybe let's check what can we do to improve our societal development. Well, new schools are always a good choice, and maybe let's integrate the territories. Let's train the troops, industrial investments, infrastructure, and I think that this is a good moment to end the episode. So I hope that you've liked it, and be sure to leave a like, a comment, and to subscribe to my channel. And remember to check out my Patreon. There are some nice bonuses for all my Patreons. Of course, the Patreon is under construction. It will improve, it will evolve as more people will come. So the lowest pledge is €1. So if you have some money to spend, then I'll gladly take it. I also want to thank my first Patreon, Marek, and I will see you guys in the next episode. See ya.